Right now, in the warm, still, slightly damp corners of your home, and quietly inside some of your food, something is growing. You mostly notice it once it's already visible. A fuzzy patch on the bread, a spot on the fruit, that musty smell in the spare room. But the mold you can see isn't really the problem. The problem is what some molds make. A class of chemicals that includes two of the most toxic natural substances we've ever identified. And here's the uncomfortable part. You're almost certainly eating tiny traces of them right now. So today, let's separate what genuinely matters from what's just fear, because both are out there, and the difference is worth knowing. Start with what mold actually is. It's a fungus, and like a lot of living things fighting for territory, some molds defend themselves with chemistry. They release compounds to poison their competitors. We call those compounds mycotoxins, literally fungus poisons. Most are harmless in the amounts we ever meet, but a handful are genuinely dangerous, and two of them have earned special attention. The first is aflatoxin. And I want to be direct with you because this one deserves it. Aflatoxin B1 is classified by the World Health Organization's Cancer Agency as a Group 1 human carcinogen, the top tier, the same category as tobacco smoke. It is one of the most potent cancer-causing substances found anywhere in nature. Here's how it earns that title. Once inside your liver, aflatoxin physically damages your DNA. It's especially good at mutating one particular gene, p53, one of your body's main defenses against cancer. Knock that out, and cells can start growing unchecked. That's why aflatoxin is so strongly tied to liver cancer, and the risk multiplies dramatically in someone who also carries hepatitis B. And we learned this the hard way. In 1960, around 100,000 turkeys died in England from a mystery illness. The trail led to their feed, moldy peanut meal, and the poison in it was named aflatoxin. What killed a barn full of birds turned out to be quietly present in the human food supply too. So where does it hide? In some of the most ordinary foods there are: peanuts and peanut butter, corn, tree nuts, dried fruit, spices, grains. It grows when these crops are stored warm, humid, and badly, and it can even pass into the milk of animals fed contaminated feed. Globally, an estimated 4.5 billion people live with regular exposure. Now, before you throw out your whole pantry, the honest other half. In countries with strict food regulation, this is watched closely. Limits are set low, batches get tested, and in a well-regulated supply, the daily trace most people get is small. And your liver is built to handle small. The real danger is high, chronic exposure. Poorly stored staples, unregulated supply chains, the same food every day for years. So this isn't a reason to panic. It's a reason to care how your food is stored and where it comes from. Hold on to that, because it's the key to this whole video. The second headliner is quieter and closer to your morning routine. Ochratoxin A. This one's signature target isn't the liver, it's your kidneys. It's considered the most powerful kidney-damaging toxin of its kind. It's a possible human carcinogen, and it wears down your immune defenses too. And it turns up in things people consume every single day. Coffee is one of the leading dietary sources. The toxin is tough enough to survive the roast. It's also in grains, wine, beer, cocoa, dried fruit, and spices. Two things make it sneaky. It's extremely stable, so normal cooking doesn't destroy it. And once it's in you, it lingers, binding to proteins in your blood and leaving slowly over weeks so it can quietly build up with steady exposure. In parts of the Balkans, a specific chronic kidney disease has long been tied to ochratoxin in locally stored food. Again, the pattern that matters is the daily drip over years, not one cup of coffee. But for a lot of people, the bigger exposure isn't on the plate at all. It's in the air. Because mold doesn't just grow on food, it grows in buildings. Damp walls, leaking roofs, the bathroom that never quite dries, the flat with condensation running down the windows. And this is not fringe. Major reviews from the World Health Organization and the Institute of Medicine concluded there's solid evidence that living or working in damp, moldy buildings raises your risk of real problems: coughing, wheezing, respiratory infections, and both the triggering and the worsening of asthma. It disturbs the immune system. Around 1 in 6 homes has a dampness problem. This is one of the most common hidden health exposures there is, and most people walk right past it. Now here's where I have to be straight with you, because past this point, the story gets murkier. Beyond those well-established effects, there's a heated frontier. A large community of patients and practitioners believes chronic, low-level mold exposure drives a much wider illness: deep fatigue, brain fog, mood changes, weight gain, through long-term inflammation. It often goes by the name mold illness. And I want to hold two things at once here, honestly. On one hand, there's a real kernel. These toxins genuinely are immune-disrupting and inflammatory. That part is solid. On the other, the leap to blaming them for a broad, whole-body illness is not settled science. Mainstream medicine hasn't accepted it as a defined condition. The tests used to diagnose it are disputed, and some of the headline studies have serious flaws. And a whole industry has grown up around it. Expensive urine tests, detox binders, sauna and IV protocols, much of it unproven, and some of it happy to take a frightened person's money. So take the frontier seriously as an open question, but keep your skepticism and your wallet close. So let's land on what actually works. The stuff with real leverage, none of which needs a single supplement. And it comes down to one idea: lower your exposure. For food, it's refreshingly old-fashioned. Keep grains, nuts, and dried goods cool and dry, and don't hoard them for years. Throw out anything moldy, shriveled, or discolored. And trust your mouth, because a nut that tastes bitter or sharp can be a warning sign. Buy from reputable, regulated sources rather than loose and unlabeled. You don't need zero exposure, you just need to keep the load low. And for your home, this is the big one. Deal with damp fast. Fix the leak instead of living with it. Run the fan, open the windows, let steamy rooms dry out. And if you can see mold or smell that musty note, address the source. Don't just paint over it. One honest tell that your building might be affecting you. Symptoms that quietly ease when you spend time away from home and creep back when you return. That pattern is worth paying attention to. So here's the balance to keep. Mold and its toxins are genuinely serious at high or chronic exposure. This isn't wellness paranoia, it's real toxicology, from liver to kidney to lungs. But for most people, with regulated food and a reasonably dry home, the daily dose is small, and your body is built to handle small. The power here was never in fear, or in a cabinet full of detox kits. It's in dry food, a dry home, and actually noticing the spaces you spend your life in. Take whatever here is useful to you, and leave the rest. If this made you look at your pantry, or that damp corner, a little differently, save it so you can come back to it. And tell me in the comments which hidden exposure you want pulled apart next.